am now recording with Dr. Angela Brown here on Bodylynx. And we were just, listen, people, we were talking so much. I said, excuse me, I got to start recording soon, or we're going to run out of things to talk about during the actual interview, which is a great thing. So some of the things that we were talking about, I told her I was going to embarrass her. And I was going to embarrass her because most people, you know, they bring a couple people to the show. Dr. Brown, she brought a crew, okay? They had balloons and pictures and everything. I barely got to say, you know, representing, I think it was Melvin Morfitt, and you couldn't hear the rest of the intros. And that's what we want. That's what we love at the shows. For people to, it's not a library, right? So we want you to definitely have that experience. And it's infectious, and people see it and they're like, hey, this is a good thing, right? So this is the part that she didn't know that I was going to do, is because since nobody could hear it, I figured now would be a good time for me to do your intro. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Yeah. So what I was trying to say that nobody could hear, because all her people were screaming, was we proudly represent Melvin Moore Fitness Studio. Dr. Brown says, today is my 51st birthday and I've challenged myself to step outside my comfort zone. I especially want to thank my coach and brother, Melvin Moore Jr., for supporting me in my journey to a size healthy. To my fitness sisters, Marissa, Jordan, Tamika, my 9 a.m. crew, you are the wind beneath my wings. Thank you to my family, friends, sorority sisters who are all here today. Yes, they were. And I dedicate the fitness milestone to my friend, Athena Ellis. Continue to rest in peace. So because they had so much ruckus, which we loved, I would love for them to do it all over again. But I said, what you had to say was so touching, and I wanted people to be able to know what your intro was supposed to be.
Thank you so much, because people kept asking me, well, what was your intro? And of course, in that moment, I couldn't remember. And I have another interesting story when we talk about the posing that happened right before you did the intro. So thank you so much for that, because I wrote it and I wanted people to hear it, but it was so much going on. And like I said, I have a really lively bunch, but
yes,
I'm typically that person in the audience too.
They were fabulous. Please we don't want to take anything away. We want them to come on back next year because they were a blast. But I know nobody heard. Like I said, I got out representing Melvin Moore and then all broke out. And that was because of you. Okay, you did your little high step and walk out there. That is why, ma'am, you came away with best poser. It was like hands down. Like, okay, best poser. Boom.
Look,
that was it. Yes, we love the personality, and chutzpah is the word that I think of when I said, go ahead, girl. It looked like you were having a good time out there.
I had an absolutely wonderful time, and James Brown is my favorite. So when I actually emailed you and Lorraine early on to ask about the music, and one of the things that you all responded and said, which really spoke to me, was that your individual routine is yours. We want you to show your personality. After that, I was like, say less, say less. I was like, I'm gonna give it to them.
We love that we were able to do that. Our DJ Trez, his name is Reggie, but yes, he has done a lot of shows, and we love that he makes it right for the people. I've seen him put a microphone to somebody's phone if he had to. You know, we don't ideally want to do it that way, but it's important, especially if you've been rehearsing to that routine and that music, you know, and it makes you comfortable too. You know, you don't want something that you can't connect to. So
absolutely. And I think this would probably be a good segue to talk about what happened right before I went out.
Okay.
So when I arrived, I took my thumb drive to DJ Trez because I just wanted to be certain that it would play. And so we tested it and it worked, okay? And so right before I was called for the individual routine, I couldn't find my thumb drive.
Oh.
And so when the expediter came backstage and said, number 12, it's your turn, I was tearing up stuff looking for it. And so my coach and I were sitting in some chairs that he had brought for us. And so he went back out to the audience so that he could videotape, because he knew that I was coming up. I didn't realize, because I was trying to eat my fruit, that I had put the thumb drive in his chair, but he put his book bag on top. So
Gotcha.
I'm tearing stuff up looking for it. So I look at the expediter, and I think it was I don't know, I'm not sure if it was Marcus or not. And I said, I can't find my music. Don't worry about it. I just won't do it. And in that moment, I felt defeated, because I knew that I had been practicing that routine and how much I love James Brown and wanted to pay homage to him. But I was like, I can't find it. And I was depending, my coach had everything lined up for me, but now he's not with me. And so I had a moment of panic, but then I was like, but I resolved to myself, you just won't do it. And Marcus was not hearing that. He said, come with me. And so when you spoke about DJ Trez putting microphones up and doing whatever he needs to do to get the job done, he did that for me. So I get there, and there was another young lady assisting him, and she had a phone, and
Aunties. Yes.
See, and they were wonderful. And he looked at me, because I was like, I don't have my music. And I know he remembered me from that morning when I had my thumb drive. And so she says, she's whispering to me, because you're getting ready to start reading the intro. And she says, what song is it? And I tell her, and he was like, oh, I got that. And so that's how I ended up still doing the individual routine that earns
how amazing they are. Yes, that's how amazing they are. And if it ever happens again, especially for our show, we could just go to the next person and we can find your music. Okay. Yes, ma'am. That's how we roll. But yes, we want you to feel comfortable, and we want you to have a good time. And I'm telling you, you showed out.
I had a ball.
I'm glad, because I knew the audience loved it. Ooh, I loved it. They loved it. We were like, okay, all right, best poser. Let's to the, we don't judge, the judges judge. But I mean, anybody who was watching the show was like, yes. Hands down.
I had a ball. And I'm so glad that the team backstage worked with me to make sure that I had the music, because, and not only just about winning best posing, but all the other pieces of it, it's so structured, right? But then I was like, this is really a time for me to celebrate me. And it was my 51st birthday. And I really wanted to let loose, because I knew that was going to be the last thing I had to do. And so without them working with me and coming up with the music, it wouldn't have happened. So so thank you all.
Oh, thank you. And I thank you for sharing that with us. So we were talking a little bit before we started recording about, I was saying why I do these, and what I want people to understand is that person on stage is just a step away from you, and a lot of people don't think that. People, they're like, I could never do it, And so what of all things made you say, you know what I want to do? I want to take up working out, and I'm going to enter a bodybuilding show. Like, how do you get to that moment?
And so, a very short story, I began working out with my trainer, Melvin Moore Fitness, in 2007.
Oh, I love that. She's representing over there. Please go ahead, girl.
Yeah. And so I began working out with him in 2017, and I was in menopause, post-surgical menopause. I had an ovarian cancer scare, and went into menopause. And he did his first show in 2018. And I remember sitting in the audience and watching. And again, like you just said, I was like, okay, that could never be me. I'll just come to support. And so fast forward, he's done more shows, got his pro card, and I was always on the other side watching. And so I was really trying to encourage one of my fit sisters, is what I call them, to compete. Okay. And she wasn't hearing it. She kept saying she wasn't ready. And so, but we had our first female competitor from the gym last November. And so I was encouraging her. I said, hey, I think you should do it. And so she said to me, she says, well, you keep talking about me. Why not you?
She called you out.
Yeah, she called you out. And I happened to mention it to my 9 a.m. Teammates that I work out with, and they were like, I think you should. They were like, you were so encouraging. You're like the ambassador of the gym, and you're always pouring into everybody else. Why not do it for you? Because you really have a story behind it. And I was just kind of like, no, not for me. And so eventually my trainer, well, coach, has practices on Sunday for the athletes. And so he said, why don't you come on a Sunday and just check it out? And the rest is history. But I decided to do it because my testimony, fitness testimony, health testimony is that I was on all these medications for menopause, and it was causing me to gain weight, causing bloating, all kinds of things. And again, I wasn't even 50 when I went into menopause. I was more around 40. And but fitness and working out actually saved my life. It took me off all the medications and all the hormone replacements.
That's
and
beautiful.
it's my go-to. It's my solitude. It's my sanctuary. And then I thought about it, and then I talked to a lot of women with menopause, and they're so proud of the progress that I've made, not just in the gym, but in the emotional journey. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to take this to the stage. It may not be the best physical aesthetic physique, but I'm going to take this emotional roller coaster that has ended in joy to the stage. And that was my why.
And it was beyond joyous. Okay. For all of us who attended. Hello. You made it so memorable. I'm serious. And I love that. I love that you're able to share your story. And I know you said you had an ovarian cancer scare.
Yeah. And so that was, I had my first, I had a partial hysterectomy in April of 2004.
Okay.
And where they removed some fibroid tumors and thought we were good to go, but they left me with my ovaries, okay? So in 2014, I was working out at Zumba and started cramping really bad and had this sharp pain in my left side and didn't know what was going on. But I tend not to ignore things, and I'm glad that I didn't.
I'm glad you didn't either.
Right. So this was 10 years later in 2014. So I go to the doctor, and immediately because of my medical history, they get me in for an ultrasound. And at this time I had 4 tumors, and the doctor said to me, he said, Angela, there's one, and the way that it's growing, and he said, this is just me just looking at it on the ultrasound.
Right.
It's worrisome. He said, so I want to do cancer markers.
Okay.
And some of those markers came back positive.
Wow.
And so he said to me, he said, I still can't tell you that you have it, that you don't. And he was like, because, and I don't know a whole bunch about cancer markers, but some of the 2 came back positive, but they weren't prominent.
Okay.
Because of them coming back positive though, he said, we're going to need to make some tough decisions. And I remember looking at him and said, it's not we, it's me. And
I like that. He's like, we've got to make some decisions.
We got to make some decisions. But then he is a very valuable member of my team. And so with that, made the decision to go ahead and to remove everything, including my ovaries.
Well, I'm with you. I'm one of those. Join the crowd, sister. I'm here with you. Bam. Yes, I've been, as I like to jokingly say, I've been neutered.
Yes.
Because we're not playing with any of that anymore. Like, all of it's gone.
It's gotta go.
Yes.
It's gotta go.
Yes.
And you know, I had some heartburn behind it because I was still very young, you know, in my 40s. But then I thought about it. I was like, but I'm going to choose life, okay?
Yeah,
and
that's a real good choice. I like that one. Yes.
Choose life. And I didn't know everything that was going to come with it. He explained to me that, you know, that I would be in post-surgical menopause, but I have to be honest and say that I wasn't prepared for the emotions that came with it.
Okay.
The depression. When I went into surgery, I was weighing 116 pounds.
Okay.
And had been told that I was underweight. Which is also the other end of the spectrum that I had to deal with for all of my life. But then within a year, I ended up gaining 30 pounds after surgery. Wow. So, okay. which is where I started my fitness journey and working out. And like I said, it came off the medications, but cancer-free, and blood work looks really good. And everything worked out. So, but yeah, so that's a part of my story.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So now that you've tore up the stage, first off, what did that how did that make, well, I'm hoping that makes you feel good, but now that you look at it, because you were one of those people who said, I would never be up there. Never say never.
Never say never.
Right. Now that you've gone through the experience, what do you take away from doing it?
And the biggest takeaway from me is she believed she could, so she did, right? And that's a quote that I see a lot. And you know how you look at things and they just kind of seem rote. But at first I didn't even believe that I could. And it was months before I started trusting the process, looking at the macros, because I really don't eat, and thinking I gotta eat all this food. But the biggest takeaway for me, I would say, was the mental transformation, the clarity that I gained, and not just for fitness, but in so many other areas of my life.
Right.
Because as soon as I started the process, I got a promotion at the job, and I'm kind of like, now how am I going to do all of this? I got to eat, I got to do cardio, I got to do this, you know. But the process really was a mind cleansing, a mind detox, you know, and it brought me so much clarity. And it really took me back to that quote. She believed she could, so she did. And so now I know that I am unstoppable. Whatever it is that I want to do, if I set a goal for it and I follow the process, then the outcome has to be successful.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that, right?
Yeah. Right. With some other steps in between, but yeah.
There's lots of other steps in between, but I love that. So do you think that you will pursue other shows now that you've gotten a taste of those? Or was that like, oh, okay, that was good, now I want to do some other stuff?
Oh, and I'm going to lean in for this one because I told my coach, I'm one and done. I will not ever do another. He said, you shouldn't say that. He said, you might feel differently. I was like, oh no, I just want to, you know, actually be on stage to celebrate me on my birthday, and I'm done. And so that show was on Saturday. Monday, I returned to the gym. I think probably one of the first things I said to him is, I want to do another show. He was like, told you. And so
What is he gonna do?
he was like, told you. And I told him, I said, I felt so liberated, you know? But up until the show, I kept saying, I'm not going to win any medals. The win for me has already happened before I got on stage, right? And my coach told me, he said, but I think that's what made you so comfortable, because you didn't care about the physical win, because you know you had already won emotionally, and even just getting there. So this time around, I told him, and I said, I still don't necessarily care about the medal, but because I've gotten 4 now, I was like, I want some more. And so we're in the conditioning stage now, and with a potential another show set for me to do in March. And so we're in conditioning. And because, you know, I even asked him, I said, what do we call this process? Because I've been on the reverse diet. And so now I'm back to, you know, doing my weigh-ins every day and sending in my pictures every week. And so I've lost some more weight, and I've lost some inches. And, you know, like, I'm learning the jargon of the industry too.
Yes.
So that I can bring a better package to the stage next time.
Hello. She said a better package. Hello.
Better package, or an improved package.
Clearly the posing was down.
Yeah.
100%. I'm sure you might have to still tweak a little bit, but I'm going to say the posing was right on point. So you can work on the other stuff, but if you bring that attitude to the next one, hello. These people better watch out, because that was amazing. So, okay, so you've got the coach, you've got the new job, you've got the show, and even you haven't learned clearly to not say never, because you said, I'm not doing this no more. And then you're like, hey, when's the next one that I can?
I did.
So if you were sitting out there in the audience, for somebody, of course, who watched you, what's some advice you would give to either that other person or even to yourself about the whole like process?
That the process can be a lot, but it's worth it. It's an investment in yourself, okay? And what I reminded myself was that I have a very supportive village, but I'm doing this for me.
Okay.
And I competed in the wellness category, and but health is wellness. And so if you're going to do it, make sure, and let me not say make sure, because there were lots of moments when I thought I was sure, but I still had doubt. But be grounded in your decision to do it, knowing that every day is not going to be perfect. There might be some days that you don't hit your macros or your cardio or your strength training goal, but keep going. And so, but be certain that you want to do it for you, not because the person beside you is doing it, not because of peer pressure, and leave your ego out of it, okay? Make sure that you're grounded in the fact that this is just going to be a stage presentation, but once you step off that stage, what do you have to offer yourself? And for me, it's a lifelong journey to continue to be healthy. And so I would say the best advice that I can give is to just stay with it. When you don't trust the process, still know that you're in it, and that give it your best. And the best is all that you can give. Then if you're giving your best, and if that's your 100% for that day, then go with it. But don't do it because there are other people doing it, or you want to be in the limelight. Those are totally the wrong reasons, because there's going to always probably be somebody's physique that might be better than yours or whatever. But when I was backstage, none of that went through my head. This is what I said: the joy that I have, didn't anybody give it to me but God? And so I'm going to bring that joy, and I'm going to lead with it. And I certainly hope that I was able to exude joy throughout.
Oh, yes. You and the crew. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And all right, so I guess the only thing that I would disagree with you, because what you said was beautiful, but I do tell everyone, well, you've probably seen my emails. What's the number one rule? Enjoy this day.
Yes.
Don't forget to enjoy this day, right? Like, a lot of people, they're so busy doing everything else. And like, please try to pay attention during the day, and or even during the process of everything that you're going through, right? Because it's so, like you said, you're counting macros, you're doing your diet, make sure you're working out, you're doing your strength training, you're doing this, you're doing that. I gotta pick my outfit, I gotta get tan, it's like there's so much going on, but you might miss the whole journey of and miss out to enjoy it. Like, it's supposed to be, at least to me, it's supposed to be a joyous time. It's not supposed to be like, oh my God, the pain and the stroke. Like, no. No, we got enough of that. Like, for me, like, this is the, like, if I'm at the gym or something like that, that's my me time, like you said, and that's my joy time, right? Even if people like in the gym being cranky, be like, okay, not during my time. Okay, you stepping on my moment. Like, I'm gonna need you to back off. And the other thing is, whatever minutes you have on stage, yes, it's all about you. And I don't have to tell you that, but yes, you bring your show, and yes, you did. So even though you said, it's don't worry about it, girl, you brought a show.
So a mission accomplished, because I wanted to. And you know what I realized, because I'm in a sorority, and one of the things I told my coach, I've done step shows, right? And I said, but we usually get to walk the stage. And so, of course, let's just be honest, we're human. I was like, and then I'm wearing these 5-inch heels. What if I trip? What if I fall? And so he said, well, you won't necessarily get a chance to walk the stage, but when you all called us to the audience for the coaches and competitors meeting,
yes,
he whispered to me, he said, now is your time to feel the stage.
Okay.
And so he has a video of me when we're walking from behind and down the stairs, I'm studying the stage. So that way when I came out, I knew where the center was, and kind of like the angles, right? And that made me feel more comfortable too.
Well, look at that. I so love it. Well, I don't want this to be just a one-time thing. I want to follow you along your journey. I want to be able to, have an interview and talk with you again and see what you're up to next, what's going on with you. I don't know how many people know outside of the bodybuilding world, like what you do, but what do people who have no idea that you do this, what did they think when they found out?
You know what? Some people, they really weren't surprised. And I think because people really think that I'm more of an adventurous person than I probably really am. I am a dancer, but a lot of people were kind of like, I'm not surprised. Anything that you say you're going to do, you typically do it. But I didn't tell a lot of people in the very beginning because I wanted to block the noise. Understood. And I think I was honestly afraid of people telling me that I couldn't do it, but it was a complete opposite. And people were so supportive. As you saw in the audience, I even had my niece traveled from Texas to be there.
Wow.
And but they really weren't too surprised. But I remember I have a grandson who is 11, but he did say to me, he said, "But Mimi, you're gonna have to take off all your clothes." I was like, "Baby, no, it's not that kind of show." But everybody was really supportive, and even when I didn't want to go another further, they were the champions for me.
And what you just said, see, that's what warms my heart. Seriously, like my grandmother is doing about hella. Who's got the coolest grandmother ever? Right? Like that one, the one that won best poser. Yeah, that's my grandma. Hello, hello, hello. How many kids in school can say that?
Right. And look, and my daughter wore a shirt to the show. And, you know, of course, during the process, I didn't realize it until later. I was looking at the pictures, and it says, "My mom can lift more than your dad." And I was like, oh gosh. She was like, "Well, you can." I was like, oh, okay.
Look at that. I love it. I so love it. Oh my gosh. Well, like I said, we're going to end our recording for today, but I really appreciate you sharing with me, and we can talk later. No, I'm just going to say bye for now. Thank you for doing this. And yes, we are going to see what's next on Miss Brown's adventures that are next to come. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Don't leave me.
Okay, I won't.